code of conduct. Is that what's next in your book? Okay. Adults and children are encouraged to treat others the way they would like to be treated, to respect and to honor one another. Children are to respect the authorities they're placed under. We know all of these things, right? But we want to make sure we have it in the code of conduct, and this will be gone over with our students when they begin coming that first week. Students are to come into class prepared with communication folders, books, pencils, and paper. Earbuds and handheld electronic devices will not be allowed in the classroom or over the lunch hour in an effort to create a peaceful atmosphere. Cell phones may be used only before and after school or during a break for communication purposes. If these items are seen in the classroom, they will be taken from the student immediately for a time determined by the tutor or director. Upon a second offense, it may be determined that the student will be unable to bring the phone or device to school. It is best not to bring the expensive items on the property in the event that they would be lost, stolen, or damaged. Trinity Homeschool or Hearts Academy will not be responsible for any such incident. So the phones is a real problem always, because kids just can sneak them. So it's really hard for us to determine exactly what to do about that. We're asking the tutors, we're asking the parents to help us with that. We have a phone in the lobby. So unless you really feel like your child just has to have the phone, it's good if they can keep it at home, especially if they're in elementary school, because it can be such a distraction for them. Of course, the issues of cyberbullying and social media are always a problem that we don't want to have to worry about. So, and if we text them, I know the tutors will say, oh, they got texted right in the middle of class. Well, their phones should be off and in their backpack, because I know I'll text my children any time of the day, because I know between classes or at the lunch hour, they'll check it. But the phones should be off and in their backpack any other time. If they're in a classroom, their phone should be off and in their backpack. Okay? Everyone, that's the best way I know how to do it. And if we have a child who is abusing their phone, using it, and it's just always having to be taken away or always called out on it, then it will be something that we'll probably have to get with you and ask that they please not be able to use it at school, not be able to bring it to school. Is everybody good with that? All right, awesome. Of course, foul language, smoking, chewing tobacco, and any weapon-like devices, including pocket knives or tools, will not be allowed on the premises and will be subject to the disciplinary actions set above. No inappropriate reading material, games, or music will be allowed on the property. The director reserves the right to decide what material, games, or music is inappropriate and will choose to err on the conservative side. These are pretty straightforward, right? Any questions? No hand-holding or preferential treatment between students will be allowed or encouraged. Parents will be asked to address this issue on an individual basis. Trinity Homeschool cannot control the conduct of students in this matter off premises on the student's own time. Although we will do what we can, parents must handle this issue at home. So again, we're not going to encourage hand-holding or dating or any of that stuff. What I tell the kids, because of course they're going to, they're high school kids, they're going to have their crushes and all of that. But what I tell them is, when I walk down the hallway, I shouldn't be able to tell. There shouldn't be any of that affection that should be visible on our property, and the tutors know the same thing. So we do handle that to the best of our ability and discourage anything like that. And the kids do a good job of keeping us informed as well. So we usually know what's going on and keep an eye on that. But of course, if Bobby calls Cindy at 11 o'clock at night, there's nothing I can do about that. Please use the things that like blocking and all of that stuff to handle that at home, because I don't like to get involved in that. Is that okay? Plenty to do during school hours to help you. Okay. Discipline. There is a zero tolerance for disrespect or violence in any form or at any time from Homeschool Depot or Hearts Academy attendees or visitors. Trinity Homeschool Depot is a safe environment for the children of our community. Our desire is to extend love and forgiveness, but will not jeopardize the emotional or physical safety of our students. We also are training our children and expect that there will be times of character training and discipline. We believe in prompt instruction in righteousness using the Word of God and the love of God. Is there any questions about that? You're all good? All right. On the first offense, the student will be given a verbal warning will be written up. The student may be sent home at the discretion of the director. On the second offense, the student will be sent home and a meeting will be arranged between the parents, tutors, and directors to create a plan of action and discipline. Minutes of this meeting will be put in the student's file. Upon the third offense, the student will not be allowed to return and there will be no refund of fees. If students are disrespectful of Homeschool Depot property and property is damaged, restitution will be made by the student in the form of money and or labor to repair the damage. Now this is just rules set in place so that we have guidelines to follow. Of course, We are going to look at every situation individually, pray about it, talk to you and find out what is the best solution. What we want to do is protect each of the children that's in this building and in our care. That's a huge responsibility. And so we just want to make sure that we are offering a Christ-like environment for all of the kids of the program. It's always hard to let a child go because we want to help everybody that we can, but sometimes it's in the best interest of the whole school if we have someone dismissed. So we just want to teach kids to follow the rules, right? And to be respectful of others. And finally, we reserve the right to immediately and without warning expel a student involved in verbal bullying, cyberbullying, or physical bullying on or off of our property. Okay, we're going to do everything we can to help educate yourself and me as far as the texting, Facebook, Twitter, any cyberbullying opportunities. We want to make sure that we're doing all that we can as parents and mentors to those students to prohibit that from happening. And there are guidelines and safety things that we can follow to help our kids with that. There's also, with the program, the Sycamore site. I think it's so interesting, but it also shows where we are in our society today. I always tell my kids when I was growing up, I had a party line. I lived in rural Nebraska, and there was a party line. So if I wanted to call somebody, I would pick up the phone, and I might be able to listen to someone else's conversation. Or if I was talking to somebody, anyone within our area could pick up the phone and listen to my conversation. And of course, I was attached to a cord. Like all of the parents know, I was attached to a cord, so I could only go so far away from the phone that was in the kitchen, so everybody could hear my conversation anyway. So we didn't have to worry about privacy, right? We had none. That was just it. But our kids today, unfortunately, with technology, they have too much privacy, and we want to do everything we can to protect them. And please know that that's my heart for your kids, is to protect them. And so, I've really added this to our contract this year that, we have to watch out for things like cyberbullying and be proactive on that front. So please avail yourself to those meetings as we have them and how we can protect our kids if they do have phones or access to social media so that we can all help each other. With the Sycamore site that we have joined, starting in August when we add our texting and all of that stuff, there is a cyber patrol. It's a hotline that you can call to anonymously report to us any cyberbullying that's going on in our system here, in our program here. Isn't that awesome? I'm really excited about that because our kids are really going through some tough issues today. And last year we had some opportunities to help some kids, and they didn't come forward. Some parents didn't come forward to let us know how we might be of assistance until later in the year, when I think those things can be handled immediately and we can avoid any bigger issues for the kids. And so this is an opportunity, I hope, where as a parent or as a student, a fellow student, if you see someone that is in a situation that is not good, whether the child is coming to school that's doing the bullying comes to school or not, that we can really report that right away and maybe step in and help a student, right? Okay, awesome. I don't want to be scaring any of you. Are you scared thinking a bunch of this goes on? These are preventative measures, and I think we have to be ready. We have to be proactive, right? Not wait just to respond, but we want to be ready so that we can really help our kids, educate our kids as well as our parents, to let them know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. How important it is, the things that they say and the things that they text and put on Facebook, and how it really affects the lives of others. Do you agree? So important. Okay. Get off my soapbox. Before and after school. Students may be dropped off before 8:30 for a $3 fee per day. Students must be picked up within 15 minutes of their class schedule ending. Some kids, will end their day at 11:30 in the morning. Some will end their day at 2:30. Some will end at 3:30. So, just by the end of their class schedule, we ask that you pick them up so they're not loitering in the halls or distracting students that might be in class. Students not picked up within 10 minutes of class dismissal will be placed in a class or supervised study hall, and a cost of $5 per hour will be charged until a parent arrives. Parents of students left until after 5 o'clock p.m. will be charged $5 for every 15 minutes or fraction thereof. Also after 6 o'clock p.m. I'm not sure. That's a misprint, but I'll have to correct that. This fee will be due upon picking up your child to the supervisor on duty. Now there will be tutoring, after-school tutoring available, so if you sign up for that ahead of time, you'll be able to save yourself some money. So if you know that you work until 5 o'clock and you need tutoring or aftercare, please let us know about that in advance, and we're happy to help you make those arrangements and be available for you. And that is my next slide. I have myself. So after-school care, after-school tutoring, and alternate day tutoring is available. Arrangements must be made in advance. Please fill out an application for this if it is needed so arrangements can be made. And prices will be negotiated with the providers based on the hours demand and multiple students versus some of you might want individual tutoring or individual aftercare, where others might not care if we do it as a class in order to save you some money. So we just have to figure out what it is that you need. Study hall. If a student is not scheduled to be in a class at any time period, they will be assigned to supervised study hall or a volunteer duty if their work is complete. There's a cost for study hall. Please see the course schedule. What we really want to do is discourage study hall this year. We had some kids, 1 hour when I had a very large study hall class on Tuesday and Thursday. And there's some very valuable classes that are going on. You pay almost as much for study hall as you pay for a class. And so I would rather see them getting, the benefit of their academics while they're here, because they don't really study in study hall. They just don't. They fellowship. And that's great. We want them to fellowship, but it can be a distraction to the other students when we have too many kids in study hall. And so the other thing that we want to do is, if you have to take a study hall and we know your child is not going to study, let's assign them to a tutor who might be able to mentor them, or they might be able to help that tutor in doing some paperwork, or just be a helper. Some kids, if you have a child like this, you know what I'm talking about. They just do better if they have a job. And so if they're not going to be in a class and you want to assign them to a tutor that they particularly like, and that tutor says it's okay, the tutor has to agree to it, that they would appreciate their help, and we could assign them to something like that. But we really want to discourage study hall. It is available. We know budgets sometimes don't allow for every class, but we have done the best that we can this year to really make sure that every class is very exciting. I know some kids last year took a study hall during writing class thinking that it was going to be redundant, but we make sure that every writing class is different. They need that vocabulary. They need that reading every year. They need the writing, and the writing progresses from year to year, even within IEW, so that we're adding more and more. And in your packet, I believe, your last page, you don't have it. I'm going to print it for you. It should have the Institute for Excellence in Writing description of all of those classes, 4th through 8th grade or even high school. So it's not there. I will print those for you if you're trying to decide which writing class to take. There's a first year Institute for Excellence in Writing class. The Institute for Excellence class is phenomenal. That program, I can't say enough about it, because I've seen the progress of my students using the Institute for Excellence. Even my college kids, when they took their college classes and other people were complaining about writing papers, they wrote them and got A's and had not one bit of complaint about it. And that's very important. It's important that they know how to write for their SAT, and all of our high school classes and tutors help our students to do that. The IEW will help them to organize their thoughts and organize their time in order to write those SAT essays in a timely manner, and to do well on their SATs. So at any rate, I really highly recommend that they take the writing, reading, vocabulary every year, because it will help them on their national standardized test and on their SAT. And then we've done some fun things that they've already had a couple or 3 years of the Institute for Excellence in Writing. Then they'll be able to advance to the Advanced Journalism and Writing class, which means we're really excited about that. Every class is designed this year. We've worked very carefully with our writing to make sure every class is going to be exciting, new, and fresh for them. So I think Brenda even added to the 6th grade class, if it's their 2nd year, or she's not in here. I think we've added the publisher, so they're going to learn publisher while they're in there with their writing. Will be very helpful also. So every one of them has its advantages, so we want them to really encourage them to take the writing class. Okay. Driving privileges. Do we have any drivers in here? Yes? Okay. Students are not to leave the THD Hearts Academy building or premises between classes or at lunch. Now, this is not just about drivers. This is about if your child is in high school and has 2 legs and wants to walk. They are supposed to stay on the property. We will be putting an alarm on the side door to make sure that the kids are not exiting that door unbeknownst to us. We try to have a monitor there, but sometimes that monitor gets pulled away. And so we just want to put it in our code of conduct here that they are to stay on property at all times, whether they have a car or do not have a car. Written and verbal permission should be given to the director of THD Hearts Academy if a student is allowed to leave the facility personally or with someone other than the parent. Walking or driving off the property without permission is considered disrespect of authority. I just really feel like it's my responsibility to take care of your kids. They need to be in my care. I need to know where they are and have them supervised. So I think sometimes the juniors and seniors think that they're big kids and they can just run over to the gas station and get something to drink, but we have things here and we want to know that they're safe, okay? Careless driving will not be tolerated on the premises and will result in revocation of the permission to drive. And students may not return to their vehicles between classes without the permission and supervision of the director or director's assistant. All books and materials should be brought into the building at the beginning of each class day. And that's because we just don't have enough volunteers or staff to be guarding the parking lot and making sure everything's safe in the parking lot. So we ask they just bring their books in at the beginning of the day, beginning of their class, and they stay in the building. Any questions about that?